Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. It has been a while since I've come on here for my usual weekly trainings, little mini trainings. So you guys have a little taste of what is coming inside of our Facebook group, which if you haven't joined it already, High Ticket Client Online, we will see you there where we will do a longer training about our topic today. So today we are going to be talking about the 6 human needs. So let me go over here so I can make sure that I can see if you guys have any comments. There we go. And make sure that the audio works. If you're here, say hello. Let me know how you've been. Okay, there we are. And let's make sure. Great. Okay, perfect. We are good. So today I want to talk about the 6 human needs. So Matt and I, we did UPW with Tony Robbins in November. Was it November? Gosh, just like time flew by. Can you guys believe it's almost mid-January already? And that was my 4th UPW, so it's Unleash the Power Within. And God knows what number of just general Tony Robbins events that I've attended. And I remember back in October 2015, I attended my first Tony Robbins event. And I had no idea what to expect. And I just went with a friend. And we got there and I was like, oh my goodness, I had my whole life, I had felt sort of like different. And I was like, oh, I don't fit in. And then in that room of, God, it was like 16,000 people. I was like, I found my tribe. I found my people. And those, 3.5 days completely changed my life. So if you've been to a Tony Robbins event, let me know in the comments, like, yes, Tony Robbins, family, if you've crewed, if you're part of Tony Robbins world at all, if you've read a book, if you've listened to an audio, like what an incredible empire he's built, right? And one that's built off of value and trust and relationship and being, just like really so loving with your tribe. So in those 3.5 days, I learned about a framework, about a system, right? We're all about systems in the high ticket client online world, right? The industry authority world. And one of these systems that completely changed my life. And in today's training, I want to bring it back to how do we apply the 6 human needs, the basic 6 human needs, to business. So the training, one of the trainings that completely changed my life, and I continue to come back to again and again, and it will continue to change your life if you allow it to, and as it does mine, is the paradigm of the 6 human needs. So with the 6 human needs here, what I'm going to do, because it could be a little bit easier, we're still getting set up. We're back in Texas. Yes, finally, we're back in Austin, Texas. I wish I had my whiteboard so then I could just write it for you guys. That will be coming soon in the next, month and a half as we really find our place that we're going to be in for the next year or so. Anyway, so the 6 human needs, if you guys want to write them down, we have 4 human needs so the 6 human needs are needs that regardless of where you live, who you are, what you do, you have these human needs. There are 4 human needs of the psychology, right? These 4 human needs that are just like the like most basic. And then you have 2 human needs that are needs of the spirit. And I remember the first time I heard this training, I was just like, what does he mean, needs of the spirit, the needs of the psychology? Hey, Erin, how's it going? And but it did change my life. And so let's go through all 6 human needs. All of us have all 6 human needs. And you can have your needs met through positive, neutral, or negative ways. And so I want you guys to think about in your life, how is it that you are meeting your needs? Because you have them in positive, neutral, or negative ways. And which needs do you need to prioritize so you actually create, right? So you make the sort of life that you say you want, and that is totally in your hands to create. So the first 2 needs, and these are sort of like they pair up the first 4, and then the last 2 are again the needs of the spirit. So the first 2 needs that you need to be aware of are the needs of certainty. So a need for knowing that you can know what to expect, that what you're expecting or what you're going to be doing, it's not going to change, right? Like if you think of a lot of change, that's the opposite. That's uncertainty. And so the two needs that we have at the top are going to be certainty and uncertainty. We can also call it variety. And so again, no matter who you are, you have both of these needs. So now I want you guys to think, how is it that you're currently getting certainty in your life in positive, potentially neutral, or negative ways? Here, I will share some of my positive and some of my just positive and negative, right? Not so positive. So positive ways that I get certainty are going to be, let me get my water bottle. I go to the gym. I go to the gym and I work out almost daily. I definitely move my body every day. And that gives me certainty every single day, especially if I'm not traveling. I have a green smoothie. That gives me certainty. I have my morning routine. I have all of my, these are my gratitude journals, right, that I do every single morning. That gives me certainty. I get certainty also, right, through social media. Now we're getting into the more not as positive ways that we have our needs for certainty met. So say one way that I have a need for certainty met is through social media. I can depend on Facebook that if I scroll through, it's going to give me enough different stuff and I know what to expect, that I'll hear from the people that I want to hear from. And so there's a level of certainty there. Another way that I get certainty that is not as healthy would be, and let me know if you're out there and this is you as well, food. Sometimes when I'm feeling, when I'm feeling uncertain and I want more certainty, or when I'm feeling stressed or even I'm celebrating, I will eat something sweet, right? And so those are some ways to think about. Hey, Laura, how's it going? Those are some ways to think about certainty as a need. So now I want you to think for yourself, in what ways are you meeting your needs of certainty in your life? We're going to tie this back to business once we understand all of the 6 human needs. Erin says, Facebook and food here for certainty. Yeah, those are me as well. Now let's go to uncertainty, right? And the thing that I want you guys to know, right, that Tony teaches us is that if there is a thing, right, and you're going to start to see patterns. If there is a thing that meets 3 or more of your needs, it becomes an addiction. And there are better addictions, right? There are some good addictions, right? Like you want your spouse to be addicted to you. So you want to make sure that you are meeting your spouse's needs, your kids, right? People in your team. If you are running a team, you want to make sure that you're meeting their needs, right? So if you are an employer, you are definitely meeting the need of certainty by providing a check every so often to your employees. So that is a way that you both provide certainty and people are looking for certainty. Okay, so uncertainty. I want you guys to now think of uncertainty in your lives. So again, all of our human needs. With uncertainty, you want to think of like, how do you get change? We all have a need for novelty. We all have a need for things changing. So I joke around with Matt that he's great in the kitchen, right? He like loves cooking. But I joke around with him that he loves cooking so much and he gets his need for variety met from changing up the recipe, that I never eat the same thing twice. And so that is a positive way that Matt meets his need for variety. He just cooks up different tweaks to recipes. For you, I want you to think, how is it that you get your need for uncertainty met? For me, it's been traveling. It's been studying. I want you guys to think back to social media. For me, it's also social media, right? It's Facebook. It's scrolling through. Now, I want you guys to understand the product design behind these social media platforms. They are designed with neuroscience in mind and with an understanding of human behavior to actually addict you and keep coming back to it. You decide what you do with it, but just let's know that there are actual, they employ scientists for you to become more addicted. So for me, one of the things that I do that isn't so healthy for variety is going to be social media as well. But then I do some really awesome things like going to the gym, changing up the routine of what I'm doing in the gym. It's like meeting, talking to different friends, right? Maybe watching different shows, that could be something for you. And then definitely eating. Do you guys see? For me, it's a pattern. Like food, again, one way that I get variety is through food. So then you start thinking, what is my relationship with a few of these things that like arise again and again? So now we've looked at certainty and uncertainty. Let's go to the next two. If you guys already know what the next two are, put them down in the comments. Erin says, a new martial art meets my need for variety. That's awesome. That's super cool. So a new martial art meets your need for variety. And you guys are all going to, if you're catching this on live, hashtag live in the comments. If you're catching this on the replay, hashtag replay, but you all have a need for variety. Then we move on to the next two needs. Anyone know what the next two needs are? So these are still the needs of, the psyche. Okay, so going once, going twice. So the next two needs are going to be the need for significance and then the need for love and connection. These are two separate ones, significance and then love and connection. So let's start talking about significance. Significance is a need that I think is a little bit misunderstood, but it's really important for it to be understood correctly because it can guide you to live a life that is not as fulfilling and meaningful as you probably want it to be. So the need for significance is the need to feel special, the need to feel unique. Now, again, there are positive, neutral, and negative ways of having your need for significance met. Say if, let's look at positive ways of having your need for significance met. For me, for a really long time, I was just like a constant achiever. I'm still an achiever. I don't think I'll ever stop being an achiever. It's part of my DNA by this point. So one way that I get significance is, say, like running races, running marathons. I bought, for Christmas, I got myself this little thing that for hanging my medals for all the races that I do. So that is a way that I get significance. And that is a positive way of getting significance, right? Another positive way of significance could be, there is a little girl in Sierra Leone whose, education I support. That is a way that I get significance that makes me feel really good and also makes the world and, me a better place. And just like, there's a virtual cycle. Now let's go to the other side of significance where it's more negative. So on the other side of significance, we are going to be looking at things like feeling unworthy if you aren't the best, right? Feeling unworthy if you don't have the corner office. Feeling unworthy if you didn't make partner. Feeling like, like you're useless and worthless if you didn't reach some sort of milestone in your career. These are all the things. And, or, saying like you just like work at the office 14 hours a day, you never see your spouse, you never see your children because you're working so hard so you can buy the newest car. I'm not saying don't buy the newest car. Like, yes, you should have your magic moments and your magic gifts, but is it coming at the sacrifice of other parts of our life that are actually really important for us to have full lives that bring us meaning and fulfillment? And you're going to have to decide what meaning and fulfillment means to you. Fulfillment is an art. Achievement is a science, as Tony Robbins talks about. So you're going to have to decide, what does fulfillment mean to me? And once you've decided that, there are going to be some things in terms of significance, right, that will take you away from your meaning, that will take you away from fulfillment. And so often, the pattern that we see the most are people who have their top two needs. We're going to talk about your top two needs. Their top two needs are actually significance and certainty. Now, I want you guys to start thinking about that kind of person. You probably can think about them and that kind of life. You probably can imagine it very easily in your life. Someone who is living their life led by significance and by certainty will not be the sort of person that allows themselves, now we're talking in the business realm, right? Really allows themselves to be as open and innovative and creative. They're not going to be working necessarily because of the impact they're going to make. They just want the corner office. They just want the super fancy car. Maybe you've seen some of those ads, right? I know for sure that, as I'm scrolling through social media, I'll get some ads from some guy with, who's shirtless on a boat, and he's like, look at my yacht. And great, that's awesome for you. And I think you missed the boat, right? Pun intended. I think you missed the point here of, let's live our life for meaning and fulfillment and really figure out what that means for you and the sort of business that will allow you not to create a golden cage for yourself, but really to create freedom and a life that at the end of it, you go like, wow, that was so amazing. It was so worth it. It really was everything that I wanted to do during this lifetime. Then let's move on to the next need, which is the need for love and connection. So what Tony often says is that, sadly, we often settle for connection because we're, especially in this day and age of social media and connections that aren't, like as deep and the breadth of the connection, we settle for just connection and we don't go for love. But I think all of us, we really have this yearning and desire for true love. I'm not saying just in a partnership, but really having a sense of belonging, a sense of connection, a sense of being part of something that is bigger than yourself. And we all have this need and this desire. And if you change the needs that are driving you, and say you changed it to love and connection, one of the changes that I made at UPW this year, I guess last year, was changing my top 2 needs, one of them changing them to love and connection. And so that's going to change the way that I show up every single day in my life. It'll affect some of the things, the decisions that I make in terms of decisions that are made about business, right? So your top 2 needs are really driving how you do business and how you do your life. So you want to think in terms of love and connection. So let's talk positive and negative ways. So for love and connection, in terms of positive, maybe, you've read the 5 love languages, and, you and your spouse share the love language of words of affirmation. And so you write your spouse, a little note that says like, hey, darling, you're the sexiest on the planet. I, love you. Can't wait to see you soon, right? So that is a positive way of meeting your need for love and affection. Maybe it's cuddling, whatever it is going to be, spending some time, on Zoom with your family. We've been disconnected because of COVID. It's been harder to hang out, but maybe like we are all finding, right? We all came on Zoom and started connecting to each other and, having even just Zoom hangouts for work because people have an inherent need for love and connection. And so let's look at some negative ways of meeting your need for love and connection. This one was actually really surprising for me. Sometimes if you hear people just bickering or they get angry at each other all the time, what is worse than in terms of a human relationship, what's basically worse than anything else? Like worse than screaming, worse than anything else. Well, maybe not anything else, but worse than a lot of things. Neglect, right? So some of the patterns that you see in people, so say like they're arguing a lot. Unfortunately, that is just a way that they get their need for love and connection. This is more connection than anything else, met because they are not being ignored. So they come up with drama or they come up with something negative that actually lets the person they want attention from give them attention, right? So there are positive, neutral, and negative ways that we get all of these needs met. Now let's move to the needs of the spirit. The needs of the spirits are going to be the need for growth and the need for contribution. Again, we all have these needs. So the need for growth, Tony often says, if you're not growing, you're dying. And we see this in life. Either you're progressing, you're moving forward. There is no such thing as standing still. That standing still does not exist. Standing still means you're going backwards. Because as you're standing still and you're not making progress, if the world is making progress, the world is moving, the world is going forward. And sometimes absolutely it makes sense for you to take a breather, right? But even your breathers, even your rest can be a way of you progressing in your spiritual development, in your spiritual life, right? So I want you to think in 2021, how is it that I am going to be progressing, growing myself in all of these aspects that are important to me? How are you growing in your courage? How are you growing in your health? How are you growing in your love? How are you growing in your finances? How are you growing in your business, right? How are you growing in your cheerfulness, in your gratitude? What are the values that are most important to you of who you want to be? And how is it that you're really growing every single day? Because if we're not growing, we're dying, we're going backwards. And when we're going backwards, if you've ever felt those times in your life, I know I've had these times. So when I was a lawyer, I remember working in a legal office and just sitting behind the desk working on legal memos and feeling like my life was wasting. I felt like I wasn't put on this planet to feel this miserable, to feel this cage, to feel like my soul was literally drying up and coming into a little tiny raisin, right? Like that isn't why you were put here. That's not what I was put here. We were put here to thrive, to grow. And so if you ever feel that sense of like there's no energy, you don't feel excited for the day, it's because you need new goals. It's because you need a target. You need to know where you're going. You need to have a vision for your life. And a quick little plug here, if you want more of that, if you want to know where you're going, if you want more of a vision, if you want to get reconnected with your goals, if you want to know what your goals are for 2021, this Sunday, I'm doing a training with Matt from our new place here in Texas. The New Year's retreat is happening this Sunday. It was rescheduled because, oh my gosh, so many things happened, but it's happening this Sunday. So if you are feeling like, I feel like I'm just going through the motions, what is life even about? Like, I want more. I know that I was put on this planet for a reason, and you want to figure out what that vision is. If you want to figure out what you're here to do, I'm not saying that you're going to know like the end. That's the thing. Brendon Burchard, one of my mentors, he says the piano of purpose does not just land on your head. It's not like you're walking down the street and the piano of purpose just lands on you and you know your purpose. Guess what? You're going to have to keep on living and doing things and trying things, right? And then your purpose will come. Your purpose, you will know what your purpose is. So growing through trying different things, through being intentional about who you want to be, and really having that intentionality not just come from like, I want the corner office, I want the new shiny car, I want this watch, whatever, right? Like, who do you want to become? When people go to your funeral and you are no longer here, what do you want your legacy to be? Your character legacy. Do you want to be known as trustworthy? Do you want to be known as loving? Do you want to be known as like faithful, courageous? You stood for things that mattered, that were hard. You were lazy, like you just like you took it, you just sat there and you let life happen to you. What do you want to be remembered as? And that will help you decide every single day what you do and you don't do. So that's growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. And finally, the sixth one, the sixth human need is going to be the need of contribution. Like even if you think of just evolution, we evolved as tribe, right? Like we had tribes, and if you were a jerk, if you were mean, guess what? You got kicked out of the tribe. If you didn't contribute, you got kicked out. We as business coaches, we guide our clients to lead through value, trust, and relationship, right? You get to come here on social media and create value, create relationship, create trust, create tribe. And what we see, and we love to work with our clients because all of our clients are working on something that is fulfilling to them and that means something, and that is going to change somebody else's life. We only work with clients that are going out there and making the world a better place. And when you have that, when you know your life isn't just about you, but you care about doing the thing you're doing because it's going to, bring a smile to your wife's face, to your husband's face. You're going to take care of your kiddos. You're going to make your neighborhood better. You're going to make your city a better place. You're going to make this country a better place. You're going to make this world a better place, right? What are your communities? Where do you belong? Where are you creating more community? And remember that we have an inherent need. Your company itself is a community. We have an inherent need for tribe, an inherent need to contribute and to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And this year, I want you to ask yourself, how is it that you are contributing to something that's more than just yourself? Because that will bring you incredible fulfillment and joy that, just a shiny new object cannot bring you a consistent, yes, the day of, you're going to be like, whoa, that's amazing, I have the new thing. But you hear from people again and again, when they reach that like milestone of success, they're like, oh, is this all there is? But if you're contributing, if you want success and meaning and fulfillment that doesn't just go away with you achieving the thing, start to contribute more and have a contribution plan for this year. So as we think of business, as we think of 2021, right? Come to the retreat that's happening this Sunday. If you want more support, I want you to think of what are your top 2 needs. We covered 6 needs. We talked about the need of certainty, uncertainty or variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. Currently, be very, very honest with yourself. I don't have to hear what your answers are. So if you want to put them in the comments, you can do so. But be very honest with yourself, because this will change your life. How have you been living your life? Have you been living your life out of significance and certainty, which is how most people live their lives, right? Like a good 90+% of people are living a life based on significance and certainty. Is that you? How has that kept you from truly living with your soul on fire? And if you think of who you want to be remembered as when you die, when you go on, when you think of who do I want to be, what do I want to stand for? What choices do you need to make in terms of your values? So for me this year, my top 2 values are going to be growth and love and connection. That will create a certain quality to my life, right? When significance isn't at the top, when for me, actually, it's been, when I started on this journey, my top 2 were significance. It's never been certainty for me. So that's a good thing, I guess. It was probably significance and maybe variety. I don't know. But then I switched them. I switched them to growth and variety. And now I'm keeping growth and switching it to love and connection. And so that totally changes your life. It changes what you prioritize. It changes how you do your day-to-day. It changes how I text people, who I make time for, making sure that my closest, loved ones are on my calendar every week. It means that I check in with my friends, with my family, with Matt on a different level than I would if that wasn't a top value that I put, a top need. And that is the kind of life that I want to live. So that is it for our training for today. Let me know what were your top takeaways, your top ahas in the comments below. What are your top 2 needs? And most importantly, what are going to be your top 2 needs in this year, 2021? Because it can really change and drive the quality of your life. So excited to be back in Texas. Oh my God, I miss Texas so much. But, every time I come back, it feels so good. We are settled in. My cat, Bootsy, is on the bed. It's been so good to be back with him. So let me know how it is that you're starting your 2021. Let me know what your goals are. I would love to see you this Sunday for our New Year's retreat. And have an incredible start to your year. It's week 2. It is so exciting. We get to decide, you get to decide the quality of your life this year. You get to make changes. You get to decide what's important. You get to decide what gets priority on your calendar every single day. And those decisions, those tiny little habits, those tiny decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis will completely change your life. So go make your life amazing. Go make your day amazing. Love you guys so much. I will talk to you again soon. And remember that in our Facebook group, every single Wednesday from 12 p.m. PST through 1 p.m. PST, we do trainings where you can come and ask questions about your business. We are really hunkering down and really focusing on coaches, consultants, and of course, anybody who has a service-based business. So see you there tomorrow at 12 p.m. PST. Bring your questions, send your questions ahead of time. I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.